It feels like the moment you try to answer what you want, the answer quietly steps out of the room. Not dramatically, not like something is lost, more like it was never fully there long enough for you to hold on to it in the first place. You reach for it, and your mind offers 5 other things instead. Faster things, easier things, things that feel like they should mean something, but don't stay long enough to become real. There's this constant sense of being surrounded by choices that don't actually feel like yours. Like you've been handed a menu you didn't order from, but everyone is waiting for you to pick something anyway. And when you don't pick quickly enough, the pressure shifts. Not from outside exactly, but from somewhere internal that learned how to imitate urgency. So you choose something just to break the silence. And immediately after, it already feels slightly off. Not wrong enough to reject, just not alive enough to believe in. You start noticing how often your attention moves before your intention does. You open things without knowing why. You scroll like your mind is searching for a signal it forgot how to recognize. And somewhere in that motion, the idea of wanting becomes blurry. Not gone, just diluted into so many small impulses that none of them feel strong enough to stand as a real direction. And what's strange is how familiar that confusion becomes. It stops feeling like a problem and starts feeling like a baseline. You don't question it every time anymore. You just adjust your behavior around it. You delay decisions. You collect options. You keep things open longer than necessary, as if staying undecided is safer than choosing something that might not match a version of you that keeps changing in small, invisible ways. There are moments where you almost catch it, though. A quiet pull toward something simple, something that doesn't ask for explanation. But even then, there's a reflex that interrupts it. A second guessing that arrives so quickly it feels automatic. Like your mind has learned to doubt desire before it becomes solid enough to trust. So you step back into noise again, not because you want to, but because silence feels even less certain. It's not that you stopped wanting, it's that wanting doesn't arrive cleanly anymore. It comes mixed with comparison, memory, anticipation, fatigue. It comes shaped by everything you've seen other people choose, everything you've been told should matter, everything you briefly believed would make you feel more like yourself. And by the time it reaches awareness, it's already been filtered so many times that it barely resembles something you can act on. So you end up living in this strange space where everything feels slightly possible, but nothing feels necessary. And that might be the hardest part. Not confusion, but the absence of weight. The absence of something pulling strongly enough to cut through everything else. Even rest doesn't fully fix it. Because when things slow down, the noise doesn't disappear. It just becomes internal. You notice how often you rehearse decisions without making them, how often you imagine versions of yourself choosing different paths, none of them feeling more real than the others. And in those quieter moments, there's a subtle discomfort that's hard to name. Not sadness exactly, more like distance. As if the part of you that used to know what matters is still there, but speaking in a language you stopped translating automatically. You keep moving through days hoping clarity will arrive after enough motion, but it doesn't arrive like that. It doesn't come from speed or accumulation. It comes in fragments so small you almost dismiss them. A slight feeling of ease. A brief moment where something feels less forced, and then it's gone again before you can confirm it was real. So you start wondering if the problem was ever not knowing what you want, or if it was learning to question it every time it appears, until it stops appearing clearly at all.